Hello, it's Jim, Vinyl Designs. I am going to show you a box of records. We're going to walk through them. Let me start with a shout out to Vinyl Douche. Inspired me to grab a bottle of wine, and this is a weekday wine, not too extravagant, but nice. It's Sonoma County Rodney Strong. Gotta always shout out to Sonoma County. It's a nice Cabernet Sauvignon, if anyone's interested. A box of records showed up a couple days ago from my brother Paul. He is 10 years older than me and was pretty instrumental in my experience with music as a kid, and from when I was just a little kid. So when I could remember anything, he was already a teenager, 13, 14. So by the time I started to have any real connection to music, 5, 6 years old, that was happening because a lot of the music around me was being played by my older brother, who was a teenager in the early 70s. And just opened up a world of possibilities with music. You know, I grew up listening to a lot of what, you know, you call classic rock now. It wasn't at the time, it was just rock and roll. And a lot of bluegrass. Apparently I made a circle, in case anyone's interested. A lot of bluegrass, a lot of prog, a lot of things that I didn't necessarily follow up and connect to as I got older, but I think that they gave me an appreciation for what music could do, where music would go, a really nice way to kind of step into music. Paul wasn't the only one I had. I had other siblings who were a part of that. I was the youngest of 5. And I will be doing another video about my sister and a very generous Christmas present she gave me. But we'll start with this because I need to file these records. And right now, I have this 40-pound box of records that we're going to go through and we're going to talk about very quickly and briefly, because otherwise this would be a 4-hour video. I'm not quite sure where to begin, but I'm just going to kind of dive in and pull things out and see what's what, and we'll see where it goes. So that is a funny beginning for me, because it's a U2 record. This is U2's War, which I already do own a copy of, but I have the new repress, and I'm gonna guess that this is, yeah, so this is 83. No idea whether it's a first pressing or not, but it would be contemporaneous, so this would be early in 83. My original copy of this record was a German pressing. After October, I tried to buy only German pressings when I could, because back then, at the time, you could get German pressings and they were on 180 gram vinyl. And so they were these just really nice quality records. So I remember buying imports back then. But even this, I'd love to see the difference between this and the repress. And it's really nice to have this. So these, I think, are all doubles. Paul was going through his record collection. I think he'd had a flood, and nothing serious, didn't get to his records, but he was needing to work on the floor in his basement, and so he started going through all of his records and pulled out doubles that he had. So this is just a random collection of records. I don't think that there was anything necessarily intentional about the records. They just happened to be doubles, and they're all in really good condition. And yeah, so that's what this is. So the next one is Olivia Newton-John, Let Me Be There. I probably won't spin this a lot, but I have to admit I had a huge crush on Olivia Newton-John when I was maybe 10 years old. And I will probably listen to this record. Maybe secretly, but I will probably listen to that record. Oh, hello there. So we've got Pink Floyd's The Final Cut, which is actually not a Pink Floyd album I ever owned, though I do know a lot of the tracks on it and I have listened to it, but I never owned it myself. So looking forward to that. That's very cool. All of these are in really great shape, by the way. Thank you, Paul, for taking care of your records. Animals. Again, in really nice condition. I'm going to assume that these are, from the era, and I doubt anything in here is even remotely a repress. So, but that's not to say that they're first pressings. Just that would be from probably '77. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Nice. I started listening to Pink Floyd. I probably didn't really start listening to Pink Floyd until The Wall. I think I was 12 when The Wall came out. And that was the album that really got me to connect to them. It was a big record in junior high, and then I think from there I started listening to Wish You Were Here, and then Dark Side of the Moon. By the time I was 13 or 14, Dark Side of the Moon was perfect music. Those are great. I do not own any of these now, and these are phenomenal to have. Chicago. I don't know. X. Must be Chicago 10 is what that is. I think they just numbered their records. I love you, Paul, but I have to admit, I probably won't be listening to this a lot. I wasn't much of a Chicago person. But I'm gonna check it out. One of the things that's really cool about the vinyl community is it's taught me to throw out a lot of my preconceptions and listen to things that I didn't necessarily connect to when I was younger. This is cool. This is the soundtrack to Dr. Zhivago, David Lean. David Lean is one of my favorite directors. I actually love this movie. It's beautiful. Cinematography is stunning. Great movie. It's Maurice Jarre who did the music for that. Oh, cool. Carpenters. What do we got? I don't know if this is a collection or if this is the... I don't know I know their music because you couldn't get away from it in the 70s. So I know most of these songs, but I don't know if this is a collection or if this is one of their primary albums. Rainy Days and Mondays, Saturday, Let Me Be the One, For All We Know, Superstar, Never Fall in Love Again. This seems like a greatest hits, but it's probably not. It's probably just one of their records. But it's phenomenal packaging. I love this cardstock envelope. Very cool. Opens up, and then the oh so very nice photo of the two of them. Such a sad story, but such great music. I'm a huge Carpenters fan, but I owned a couple records on CD, but I have to admit that my favorite was the in the 90s there was a collection of covers called, I think it was called If I Were a Carpenter, and it had like Sonic Youth and a bunch of other great bands doing covers, and it was really, really a good collection of covers of Carpenter songs. And I'd like to get a hold of that again. Oh, Roxy Music, Avalon. This is actually one of the Roxy Music albums that I have not replaced, and so that's perfect because I loved this record. This was a great record. It's very suave. Good record. This goes on for a while, so I hope you all are settling in. Okay. Next is Crosby. Let's try that again. Next is Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Allies, which is not a record that I recognize, but judging from the cover, I'm going to guess this is an 80s record, and it is an 83 record. I don't know it at all. I listened to a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young when I was young, because Paul listened to a lot of them, especially Neil Young. My brother is a big Neil Young fan, and I'm sure still is. I'll check it out. Next is Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Dallas Taylor and Greg Reeves, Deja Vu. I'm going to guess late 60s, and it's very possible I know this record, but I just don't know it by name, which is the case for a lot of music that everybody here in the vinyl community would just know. I may know the music, but not know any of the names of the records or even songs from the 60s and 70s, because I just listened to the music and never paid attention to the name or anything. So when the song comes on the record or on the radio, or when I listen to it, I might recognize it or know every word to it. In fact, I just don't necessarily know what it's called. But this is actually great packaging. Really cool. Neil Young is very young, so I'm going to guess this is 60s. They're all very young, actually. Cool. Nice. The Rolling Stones, Hot Rocks, 1964 to 71. So Rolling Stones collection from the early 70s. Yeah. Time is on My Side, Heart of Stone, Play with Fire, As Tears Go By. Probably everybody knows this record, but I know the cover and I know all the songs, but I never had this. I'm guessing it's a kind of greatest hits collection. Mother's Little Helper, 19th Nervous Breakdown, Paint It Black. Yeah, this is awesome. This is a great way to get a hold of a lot of Rolling Stones. Speaking of, this is Goat's Head Soup, Rolling Stones, with the hype sticker that says contains the hit single Angie. I'm going to guess, the Rolling Stones Goat's Head Soup. Somebody put a sticker on the back with all the tracks. Yeah, it's actually, I always loved this cover. I always thought this was a really cool cover. Yeah. Nice. This is awesome. This is really, really awesome. This is, the thing that's cool about this to me is that some of these records are actually the records that I listened to growing up. Some of them may have been, other copies that Paul replaced through the years, and then I'm ending up with those. But I would just assume that some of these are actually records that I listened to when I was a kid, and that's just amazing to me. I just don't have that anymore, so that's really awesome. America, Homecoming. I have to admit that I would never have gone out and bought an America record, and it's kind of cool that I ended up with one because they're one of those secret guilty pleasures that I have of just hearing something and just thinking, that's just so nice and slickly made, and it just brings me back to the 70s when I hear America, and it's fun. But I would just never go out and buy one, even if it was $1 in the dollar bins. I just wouldn't do it. And for it to just come to me, it's actually kind of cool because I'll end up listening to it. Nice. John Denver, Wind Song. I can't tell you how much John Denver I heard growing up. Everyone in John Denver was sort of universal in the family. Like, everybody liked John Denver. And there was nobody that would get upset with the idea that John Denver was playing. And I think we all knew all the words to all the songs. I could probably sit here and recite half of them. I won't, but yeah, I listened to a lot of John Denver growing up. More John Denver. Back Home Again. Let's see what's on this one. Well, Wind Song has, what was the big hit on this one? Calypso. Calypso was the big hit on Wind Song, and this was from later in the 70s, if I remember. It's 75. So Calypso is Wind Songs from 75. I'm thinking Back Home Again is earlier, like 74. Yeah. Back Home Again, On the Road, Grandma's Featherbed, Thank God I'm a Country Boy. Oh, this may actually be a collection. Annie's Song, Sweet Surrender. This feels like a collection because I feel like these songs would have appeared on other records over time. But I may be wrong. If this is all if this was all the original release, then that's pretty amazing. I don't know, but there's a lot of great songs on here. I could certainly sing Grandma's Featherbed without thinking. Here we go. Greatest hits. More John Denver. Leaving on a Jet Plane, Take Me Home, Country Roads, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, Rocky Mountain High, Starving Aspirin, Rhymes and Reasons, Follow Me, Goodbye Again, The Eagle and the Hawk, Sunshine on My Shoulders. Yeah. Classic. Oh, nice. Steely Dan, Aja. I'm going to guess this is a first pressing with promo stamps. I don't remember seeing these stamps on the record in the record store, so I'm going to guess that that's what this is. Yeah. This is great. 77. Nice. I enjoy Steely Dan. It was pretty chill music. Speaking of, Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill. This is one I do not know. Let's see if I know any of the songs on here. Reelin' in the Years. Definitely know that one. And it's possible I know some of the others. This is 72. Ah, look at these guys. Yeah. Very cool. This is just really cool. Okay. What's next? Oh, probably some of you have seen this record before. So this is Led Zeppelin. I never knew what this record was called. I always used to call it the Symbols record. This may be like what people refer to as 4. But growing up, I always wanted to call it Zoso because the symbol, I remember that. I don't know what it's technically called. Might be Untitled, might be 4. I don't know. But I know every song on this record, and listened to this and had this record. Just never really paid attention to what anybody else called it. 2. Such a great record. Led Zeppelin 2. Whole Lotta Love, the Lemon Song. That's a song that should have been on my 69 Love Songs contest. What a great song. Heartbreaker, Ramble On. Yeah, great record. Gonna guess it's an early pressing, just like all of these. I'm not a collector, so it doesn't really make a difference to me, but it's kind of cool to know. Oh, yeah, here we go. Led Zeppelin 3. We're doing pretty well on the Led Zeppelin here. It's got the phenomenal cover. I always loved this cover where you could spin the wheel and see all these crazy psychedelic pieces. I'm gonna have to find out who designed this cover. Because I always loved this cover. What a great cover. Immigrant Song. Yeah, this is another good record. Yeah. I can't spend any time on any of the. Oh, hello. Houses of the Holy. Great record. It's got stickers all over it. Promotional DJ copy. And then the tracks are on a sticker here because probably they didn't put the tracks on the record. But it's a cutout. I don't know if it's a first edition or what, but Atlantic. Very nice. It's a great record. And they call out suggested cuts for airplay, Do Your Maker, Over the Hills and Far Away, Dancing Days, and No Quarter. Apparently all the other songs weren't worth playing on the radio. But very cool. Okay. Okay. More Led Zeppelin. This is In Through the Outdoor. I'm not sure I've ever actually listened to this record. I did not own it before. I'm very curious because there's a few records like the Final Cut from Pink Floyd and this record. I think this is their last record. I don't know because I don't really know this period of Led Zeppelin. But I'm curious and I'd love to take a listen and see what it sounds like because nobody ever talks about this or, there's certain records, I think, towards the end of some of these people's careers that just don't get any conversation around them. So I'm curious about this. But this one, this is probably from Paul's original collection because it's got tape on the spine and tape on the inner sleeve. So my guess is this one's been around for a while and has seen some real history. Okay, so next is another Led Zeppelin. This is awesome. This is like getting pretty near a complete Led Zeppelin collection. This is the soundtrack to The Song Remains the Same, which was a very cool movie, concert film. And really cool packaging with a booklet inside with photos from the movie. Everybody looking super dapper. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of these records are probably not super rare or anything, but they will be loved and appreciated and listened to because they're very cool. Oop, here we go. Led Zeppelin Coda. So I may have been wrong about In Through the Outdoor. I kind of think that Coda may have been their last. This looks like it's getting towards the 80s, at least late 70s. So I'm going to guess that that is the case. 82, yeah. We're going to groove, Poor Tom, I Can't Quit You Baby, Walter's Walk, Ozone Baby, Darlene, Bonzo's Montreux, and Wearing and Tearing. I may have heard some of these. I may not. I wasn't really listening to Top 40 radio by 82, so it's possible I didn't hear too much of this, and I don't know how much radio play it got. Looks like it's cut out, so it's probably a promo. There you go. Well, that's cool. Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack. I have come across this movie a bunch of times in my life, and I think every time I come across this movie, I think I don't need to see it because I saw it again. And just a few months ago, I came across it and thought, you know, I've always thought that I saw that movie, but I don't think I saw that movie. So I don't think I saw this movie. And I'm curious, and I should watch the movie and listen to the soundtrack. I don't know who's on it, or Beaver Brown. All songs performed by Beaver Brown. I don't know Beaver Brown. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Okay, I know who John Cafferty is. There you go. I'll check it out. Go-Go's, Beauty and the Beat. Great record. And then the next one is Go-Go's Vacation. Another great record. These are awesome. Yeah. Yes, huge Go-Go's fan. I loved them when they came out. I think people underrate the Go-Go's. I think they were as punk as anybody else at the time, and I think they get dismissed a lot because they were able to break into top 40 and sell a bunch of records. But they were just great at crafting like cool kind of subversive pop songs, and they were just such a cool group of women, like awesome. And they were definitely part of the Southern California punk wave of the late 70s, early 80s. And I don't think enough people give them credit in that era. And I wish they did. I'm gonna wrap this up because this is probably a really long video, and I've still got a whole nother stack the same size to go through, so I'm gonna do a second video for this box and do that. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and if you subscribe, thank you very much for subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And and then you'll know when the next one hits, and you can spend your time checking out this crazy collection that my brother sent me. And if Paul, you're watching, thank you so much.